Well, greetings. My name is Reverend Karin Walker. I'm the coordinator of coaching services for the Mid-Atlantic Foundation and the founder, one of the two founders of the Financial Leadership Academy, along with Jack Brooks. And I also am the pastor at Falston United Methodist Church. That is my primary love and calling. And so today I want to talk about the 4 disciplines of execution from my perspective as a pastor, and the way that we, in a financial way, have put that into practice. Ever since I read that book a couple of years ago, it has totally changed the way that I do mission and ministry. In fact, each week, it changes everything. Because I say on Monday, what's my wildly important goal for the week? What is it beyond anything else that I need to accomplish this week? But what I want to share with you is something related to finances, something that you can do in your own congregation. So the wildly important goal that we're going to start with is this. I want to shift the culture from asking for money, like, we need money for our budget, to a culture of generosity, so that giving increases and we fund mission and ministry. And we have adopted the generous life as our way of understanding that shift from stewardship to generosity. So you know how there's like the good life and the salt life? We have the generous life. And so we want to live into that. And I believe that when we do so, we become more like Christ, and we're able to do what Christ calls us to do. So that's our wildly important goal. If you follow the model, then you know that the next piece that we need to really figure out is what are the lead measures related to that. So how can we enhance this culture of generosity and thereby increase giving? Well, one of the things that we know we need to do is send out quarterly statements that include an impact statement. So not only do we say, hey, this is how much you gave this quarter, but we want to make sure you know what your money did to make a difference in the world. And we want to say thank you for your gifts. You are an important part of our mission and ministry, and it's because of you that we're able to do what we do. Not only do we include that in our quarterly statements, but every week in worship, right before we pass the plates, or during COVID, talk about it on the live stream, we say, this is how we were the church this week. And even more important, during the pandemic, people need to know how we continue to live and be the church. So every week, we talk about something, some mission or ministry that happened that particular week. Oftentimes, it'll be a direct encounter with someone. I'll give an example of a woman who pulled up into our parking lot and was just desperate for, basically, she wanted a listening ear for a while, and then we found out that she didn't have enough gas to get down to Johns Hopkins Hospital to see her mother, who was very sick. And so we were able to help her in a number of different ways. But when I shared that story, it was a powerful witness to the way that people's contributions each week make a very much a direct impact. The final thing we often do will be to just show slides or a video or a testimony of someone who has really been impacted by the generosity of our congregation. We have a person in our congregation who's gone on ASP for 30 years, and we interviewed him and just said, why? Why do you do what you do? And just to hear him share how his life has been changed and how he's seen the lives of the young people that go be changed and the lives of the families that they help change. And it is so compelling. And I got to tell you, the following year, we doubled the number of teams we sent to ASP, all because of a simple testimony. That ended, though, with thank you to the congregation for supporting this important ministry, not just to Appalachia, but to our own youth and adults who go on the trip. So those testimonies are really, those witnesses are really impactful. Another lead measure is reinterpreting apportionments as a missional gift. You know, I go and look on the General Church website and gather information about UMCOR and other ways that our giving to the denomination makes a huge difference in the world. And look what we can do together. So to call it missional shares, as they do in some places, but helping people reinterpret apportionments as a missional gift goes a long way. Now, a lag measure, which the book talks about and that we want to avoid, right? If we only measure by lag measures, it's too late to do anything about it. So here's a lag measure. How does giving this year, this month, compare to last month or last year? And look, how many times do we sit in a finance meeting and say, oh, you know, for the month of October this year, we have less money than last year. Well, okay, but what can you do about it? Nothing. That month is already over. So that's the difference between a lead measure and a lag measure. A lead measure allows things to happen going forward that can really change the outcome at the end of the year. So let's do a scoreboard, right? That's the next part of the 4DX. 4 disciplines of execution, the third one being the scoreboard. How many messages of generosity did we deliver this week? That is one of the key things that we do. How many ways did we say thank you to our congregation this week? We know, based on the surveys that have been done, the best practices that have happened in churches all over, is that the more times you thank people sincerely and tell them the ways that they made a difference with their money, the more likely they are to give money again. So we want to make sure that people know that what they're doing is really important. We are also clear that it's not because we want more of their money, but because we know that in the relationship that every one of us has with God, that's a really important part of who we are as we grow in our own spiritual lives. So helping people understand the impact that they are making helps them become more like Jesus. And then the final discipline of the 4 disciplines is the cadence of accountability. So and here's the way that we do that. Are we consistent in our message? Do we have new habits in place? And what's our new language? So as we were shifting from stewardship to generosity and using that language, we made sure we stopped using the word stewardship. When we found it in some of our information, our webpage, we went in and made all of those changes so that people began to understand the new language and began to use it. So when we stand before the congregation, or a member of our generosity team stands before the congregation, we make sure that they say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm with our generosity team. And we just want to say thank you for your faithfulness to God, to the church, and to the missions. And let me tell you what we were able to do this week because of you. That's the kind of language that we use. And by and by, we've begun to experience significant shifts in our ability to fund mission and ministry. My finance team last year, at the end of the year, said, well, we did really well this year. And everybody that submitted a budget, and people are very careful about submitting budgets, of course, but the finance team said we should double our missions budget. And there was unanimous agreement around that. And then when we presented the budget to the church council, everybody was in agreement that we want to double our missions budget. And I was just astounded and grateful for the people here at Felston Church with whom I am in ministry. They're amazingly generous people and willing to do so much. All it takes is us to have a vision and an important thing to do in the world and in our community. And they respond. So there you go, the 4 disciplines of execution, and hopefully a kind of a real life explanation.